I'd like to call the Onslow County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, November 17th, 2025 to order at this time. And we will start by asking our county attorney, Mr. Brett DeSelms, to lead us in the invocation. Mr. DeSelms.
Thank you, Chairman. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Lord, be with the commissioners in their deliberations and grant them wisdom and guidance as they address the items on tonight's agenda. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, we thank you for all the blessings you have given us. For those traveling to be with family and friends, we ask that you grant them a safe journey. May all we do this day bring you honor and glory. Amen. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here tonight, join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
That you please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'll take a minute to recognize the elected officials with us tonight. We'll start with Sheriff Chris Thomas is here with us tonight. And then we have a couple others that are with us tonight in different capacities. First one, Rick Grant, Alderman from North Topsail Beach, but is the mayor-elect for North Topsail Beach. So congratulations to Rick. And then Mr. Pete Parnian, who was appointed mayor of Holly Ridge and has just been elected. And so he's the mayor-elect as in Holly Ridge. Now, congratulations to Pete. And then we have Tim Benoit here with us from Swansboro that has just been elected to the town board in Swansboro. So he's a town commissioner-elect there. So congratulations to Tim as well, because it's never an easy thing to put your name on a I'm going to run for office ballot. That was it. I could not think of it. I was just put your name on a ballot. It was out there somewhere. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for being here with us tonight. And you've got extra man with you, Sheriff Thomas. Want to introduce him? Yes, sir. It's good to see you, sir. Always good to see you. So at this time, we ask that all in attendance please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate mode. And right now we are going to item 1 for an adoption of the agenda. And I believe we have a motion.
To adopt the agenda to include a closed session at the end.
Okay. So the motion is to add second. So the motion is to add a closed session to tonight's agenda. Motion and the second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. And now we need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. The motion passes. Move to item 2, which will be the approval of the items on the consent agenda. We have any items that anyone wishes to be removed and added to the end of the agenda tonight?
I would like to move item B, the tax office request to extend annual tax listing period to the regular agenda.
Okay. And that is the commissioner's right to remove that from the consent agenda and add it to the agenda without a vote. So item B is being moved to the agenda, the tax office request to extend the annual tax listing. With that being said, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so we will move to item 3. And that is presentations, and we'll start first with the proclamation. We have 2 of those, and the first one is the National Hospice and Palliative Care Month proclamation, and Commissioner Bennett will read this proclamation and present it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. State of North Carolina, County of Onslow, Proclamation National Hospice and Palliative Care Month 2025. Whereas during National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, we honor the dedicated healthcare professionals and volunteers who help the terminally ill spend their final days in comfort and with dignity. Hospice care providers and other compassionate individuals are a constant reminder that the greatness of America lies in the hearts and souls of its citizens. And whereas hospice and palliative care services provide high-quality care through skilled professionals and trained volunteers, including physicians, nurses, social workers, therapists, counselors, health aides, spiritual care providers, and others. And whereas the hospice and palliative care philosophy places the need of individual at the center of care, allowing patients and family caregivers to focus on quality of life, surrounded and supported by family and loved ones, despite serious and life-limiting illness. And whereas hospice and palliative care providers encourage all people to learn more about options of care and to share their wishes with family, loved ones, and their healthcare professionals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners recognizes November 2025 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month and encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life and to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs presented the 17th day of November 2025.
Representatives from the Lower Cape Fear Life Care will accept the proclamation tonight.
It was less than a year ago that my mother was in hospice care, and so I really appreciate what you guys do and the difficult services that you provide for our citizens. We thank you for that. Would you like to say something?
Certainly, thank you. I am Michelle Bennett with Lower Cape Fear Life Care. We are the only nonprofit hospice and palliative care provider in our area. We provide hospice services, palliative care, a memory partners program for individuals who are living with a dementia-related illness and their caregivers. We absolutely serve all of Onslow County. As a matter of fact, across our 9-county footprint, 90% of the care we provide is in-home. We are a level 5 We Honor Veterans program provider, as well as approved by the VA as a hospice provider. And we just recently received our 5-star Medicare rating, which only 8% of hospice providers nationwide receive. So we're very proud of that. Our website is very simple, lifecare.org. You can go there to find out information about referrals, free community education. My contact information is on there. I am an Onslow County resident. I support Onslow, Pender, and Duplin. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. Now we have the National Adoption Awareness Month, and Commissioner Buchanan will read that proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whereas during National Adoption Awareness Month, we seek to increase awareness of adoption issues and bring attention to the need for adopted families, for children, youth, teens, and the foster care system. Whereas this year's National Adoption Awareness Month theme is Honoring Youth, Strengthening Pathways for Lasting Bonds by honoring every youth and their networks. Professionals can work towards an adoption that is meaningful and powerful, paving the ways for healing, well-being, and long-term stability. Whereas young leaving foster care without being adopted, without permanent connections, faces ongoing challenges with employment, education, mental health, as well as having increased risk of homelessness and human trafficking. And whereas during National Adoption Awareness Month, we celebrate all families who have opened their homes to children through the adoption. And whereas Onslow County Department of Social Services is committed supporting children, youth, and teens in foster care, waiting for adoption, and supporting adopted families through education, service, and support. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners acknowledges November as National Adoption Awareness Month and urges all residents to support our youth by opening their hearts and homes through adoption, becoming foster parents, supporting adoptive and foster parents in our community. Presented the 17th day of November 2025.
Representatives from the Onslow County Social Services will accept the proclamation.
know these people are aware of it, but I hope that the community is aware of it too. The president signed an executive order last week giving opportunities to foster care children when they age out to be able to work into the workforce. So that was an executive order that President Trump signed last week. So it's kind of an honor for me to do this today because that's what the president did last week.
I would like to thank the members of the board for giving us the opportunity to raise awareness, provide public education, and inspire action to provide permanence for the children and youth that are currently in foster care. While our role is always to reunify families, there are times when that is not possible, and adoption is the best option for permanence in those situations. In the last fiscal year, there were 5 children that were adopted in Onslow County, and we currently have 13 children and youth that are in need of permanent homes. As children age, the likelihood of finding a permanent home becomes harder. There are currently 600 teens in North Carolina that need permanence. I would like to take this moment to let you know that we would love to have more foster and adoptive families, and also to honor those individuals and families that have stepped forward and provided permanence through adoption for the children most in need. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Buchanan. The board offers one opportunity to speak during the meeting, and comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, sir, we do. We have a couple speakers. The first one is Ari Rekowitz.
A brief response to last meeting. I only actively participate in events called hearings by subpoena, and I stop reading any agenda the board posts in advance if it lists an invocation, because seeing it makes showing up here harder. So I arrive unprepared to speak on public hearing matters during the meetings when they occur. But I would like to add on public record that I hope if a grocery store and shopping center opens on the corner of 111 and 258, that it is a set of co-ops owned and managed by a diverse coalition of non-proselytizing, nonpartisan, nonprofit organizations and community members, not for-profit corporate entities. For the 3rd anniversary of rejecting my legal identity for purposes beyond preserving my right to vote, which I've already sacrificed once for transient homelessness and came willing to sacrifice the time I was gavelled off, Onslow County gifted me with an unsolicited rejection of protection from Adult Protective Services. My best guess is in response to my written request that the people in power who have been actively violating our First Amendment rights for a year after I started asking them to stop, not attempt to interact with me off public record anymore, someone submitted an APS report allegedly on my behalf. On the report, I am the person listed as submitting, but I did not submit any request. I'm slow, but I'm not slow enough to not know I don't qualify for Adult Protective Services after getting denied disability when I finally succumbed to my mother's coercion to apply in 2017. As expected, I was rejected even though I needed it. That's part of how I ended up on a permanent personal slip through the cracks protest. I would not have wasted any of our time asking for disability services in 2025. Likewise, I expect if I were to attempt to request a restraining order, which I will not, I would be denied on the grounds that I do not fear for my life. I have wanted to die for almost 35 years. The first time I tried to kill myself was more than 30 years ago, and the last time less than 3. I have some not like this preferences, but even those are flexible, and I never fear for my life. I fear for my quality of life. I would appreciate if the commissioners would give the sheriff permission to verbally verify whether I am correct. If I were to seek a restraining order against the commissioners and county attorney under the circumstances you are aware of having been present at most, if not all, of the meetings where I've spoken to the board, would I be denied a restraining order that would require them to only communicate with with me on public record, limited to their comments during these meetings and county email. Back to the comments I've been trying to muddle through all year, aside from the time I spent getting denied refuge by Canada and trying to follow the advice of my Canadian legal aid attorney to find somewhere in the U.S. more progressive than this hellscape to heal before returning here to fight to end the human rights violations that drove me from the U.S. in 2023. But I am so toxic, I've been uninvited to return to stay with the friend I stayed with, the only person in my active support system in a place more progressive than NC. I exhausted most of my support network before I left homeless, who offered me a place with no expectations of me besides being myself. Anywhere I live in this country, I have to violate my own ethical code and the law just to survive, and I don't even want to do it. I respect the time limit to respect fellow commenters, not to respect a board of commissioners who violates my rights. Unless I am the last commenter today and the board is more willing than they have been in the past to extend my time, I will respect the limit today too. The deepest respect I can offer to people who violate my rights is to not chase you across parking lots and claw your faces when I see you in public outside these meetings. And some days I just can't drum up that discipline if you add insult to injury by interacting with me. So no more scheduled events for me once I finish this public comment series. Congratulations again. Reminder that sticks and stones may break bones, but words break hearts and minds, and negative effects of marginalizing compound. Apparently, the part of my story, Onslow County, and believers who refuse to respect non-believers or our right to believe in or worship no gods need to hear is that when an unethical therapist here in Onslow County almost 30 years ago led me to reveal to my mother I had grown and changed my beliefs, my mother ended the session early and removed me from therapy, which I needed, but with a more ethical practitioner telling me if she knew she would birth a child who did not share her faith, she would never have got pregnant. I had already wanted to die, had already failed to kill myself twice, and was a military dependent, too young to seek therapy on my own. Since then, I want, present tense intentional, to have been aborted. No amount of forgiveness or time or therapy erases the pain, and she can never unsay it. I do forgive her, but her apology that she feared for my soul made the pain worse instead of better. No amount of reminding me how many times your favorite epic storybook with lots of room for interpretation says, "Be not afraid," wipes away the wish my mother cursed me with in fear, or the disgust in the voice of an adult chaperone buddy on a mission trip who called a beautiful moment between two men holding hands and kissing on a bridge disgusting during the same trip as a visit to a concentration camp where we learned about the pink triangle that led me to shed my faith. And I can love myself and many selves without wanting to be a self. Stop using religion to harm people.
Mr. Smithman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Elliot Jarman.
Good evening, Commissioners. I bet you think I'm going to talk about the fire department tonight, don't you? I'm not. My name is Elliot Jarman, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to address the topic of prayer in public meetings and the display of words "In God We Trust." Recently, there's been some concern expressed that these practices don't belong in a government setting. I understand that perspective. We live in a diverse county, and people come from different walks of life and different beliefs. That diversity is one of our strengths, but I also believe there is room for faith, tradition, and respect for the foundation this country was built upon. For generations, our communities have opened their gatherings with prayer, not because we all believe exactly the same thing, but because we recognize that there is wisdom beyond our own, that before we make decisions affecting thousands of people, it's appropriate to take a moment and seek guidance, humility, and peace. Prayer has never been about exclusion. It's about grounding ourselves in something greater than personal opinion or politics. When we say "In God we trust," we are not declaring that one belief system rules over another. We are acknowledging a timeless truth, that trust in something higher than ourselves has sustained this nation through wars, disaster, and divisions. Those words have been a part of our national identity since 1956, but their spirit goes back much further, to the very founding of this country, when our leaders prayed for wisdom before signing their names to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Our country was built by people who believed that moral accountability matters, whether you are a person of deep faith or someone who simply believes in the value of doing right by others. The recognition of a higher standard helps keep us humble. It reminds us that power should be used with restraint, that decisions should be guided by service, not self-interest. Some say religion has no place in public spaces, but freedom of religion was never meant to mean freedom from religion. The First Amendment protects every individual's right to believe, to pray, and to express faith or not to, without fear or favor from government. That means those who wish to pray at a meeting should be able to do so, just as those who choose not to should feel equally respected. The answer is not to silence prayer, but to protect everyone's right to participate, or to quietly refrain as their conscience leads them. Faith has always walked hand in hand with public service. Think of the times after hurricanes, fires, and tragedies in Onslow County when churches opened their doors, volunteers prayed over victims, and communities came together under the belief that compassion is stronger than chaos. That's not something to erase, that is something to honor. Removing "In God We Trust" from our walls or our hearts doesn't make us more unified. It simply strips away a reminder of the very values that hold this county together: honesty, accountability, and compassion for our neighbors. Those are not political values, they are moral ones. I believe this board can set an example, not by choosing one faith over another, but by showing that faith and governance can coexist with respect. We can open with prayer, honor our motto, and still welcome everyone to the table. That's what true inclusivity looks like, not silence, but understanding. So tonight, I ask that we continue our tradition of prayer and the display of "In God We Trust." Let us remember that those words don't divide us, they define us. They remind us that leadership isn't just about power, it's about service guided by humility. And whether one believes in God, a higher power, or simply the call to do what's right, those few words unite us around something greater than ourselves. Thank you for your time, for your service to the citizens of Onslow County, and for your commitment to preserving the values that built this community and this nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jarman. Mr. Smithman?
We have no one else signed up this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. So we will move into our first, looks like our only public hearing tonight. So I know Mr. Metcalf is not going to have to make as many trips. So we will go ahead and start with our first public hearing. And Carter Metcalf, our planning director, will start with the information for the county.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and County Commissioners. The item before the board tonight is the Ward Construction Rezoning, PRZ 2025, number 19. The applicant is the same as the owner, which is Richlands Jackson Ward LLC. We should take an overview of the request of PRZ 25, number 19. Requested changes from rural agriculture and residential 8 manufactured, or R-8M, to residential 8 manufactured only. So the property is currently split zoned between RA and R-8M, and the request is to then move solely to R-8M. One tax map number in question, which is 30-108, it's located off Kinston Highway and Richlands Loop Road, and it's located in, obviously, the Richlands Township. The total rezoning area is the entire parcel of 117.19 acres, and the existing use of the property is that it is forested. When we take a look at the services serving the property, there is water served by Northwest Onslow. We are not able to confirm the water line size in that area. Individual septic systems is predominantly how the adjacent area is served by wastewater. Look at the fire service is Northwest Onslow with an ISO rating of 4. Kinston Highway is where the direct access for this property is served. Yes, there is also access off Richlands Loop Road, but when we're looking for trip counts, our most recent one we were able to find was on Kinston Highway from 2023. The trip count is 17,000 trips. Staff estimates the capacity there at nearly 35,000. We look at schools serving the property. It's served by Richlands Elementary, Trexler Middle School, and Richlands High School. Both the elementary school and the middle school would have capacity to handle any increase in our student populations for the rezoning, but the high school would not. The high school is already over 100 students, in which case this would continue that fact. So the high school is over capacity. Here you can look at the zoning map. There were several parcels that were combined into the parcel that has been submitted for the rezoning tonight. That's why you see the kind of red hue there, the R-8M zoning kind of traversing and then cutting across the parcel. So again, it's one parcel, and the red is the area that's R-8M, and that light green is the rural agriculture zoning. You can see some other adjacent residential zonings as well as some other commercial zonings. The area is though also predominantly rural agriculture. There as we're kind of looking to the west of Richlands. When we compare the two zoning districts, the rural agriculture zoning district, its purpose is to maintain that rural development patterns, that agricultural character of the county. It allows for 20,000 square foot lots, and from predominantly look at the residential uses is for single family, but there is a variety of non-residential uses that are allowed in rural agriculture. There's just a few there listed on the screen, but those non-residential uses are designed to support our agricultural and rural areas of the county. Again, part of the property is that R-8M designation, and it's proposed to go fully R-8M. This allows for a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet. Multifamily is allowed by a special use permit. Special use permits are quasi-judicial hearings that are heard by the Onslow County Board of Adjustment. And that R-8M zoning district is to accommodate moderate to high-density single-family and multifamily residential developments. Now, R-8M allows for manufactured or mobile homes by right. So it is one of our two zoning districts where we place an emphasis on allowing those. A manufactured home park, so more than two manufactured homes on one piece of property is allowed in this zoning district, but that's also by a special use permit. So that would be a separate approval process. But stick-built construction is also allowed, as well as any sort of uses that we would associate with supporting residential developments. Look at the comprehensive plan Onslow Horizon 2040. Designated the property with the future land use designation of suburban growth. Suburban growth's intent and its purpose there is to provide for moderate density residential development and supporting non-residential development on the fringes of our municipalities and their associated urban growth areas. Our more urban jurisdictions, we have urban growth. They're immediately abutting the jurisdiction. Then we transition to suburban and then to rural. But here we're looking at suburban growth, and since this is a residential rezoning request, we look at the residential land use summary. It would prescribe a density of 4 to 5 dwelling units per acre, or multifamily at a dwelling density of 8 to 10. So R-8M, when it looks at the multifamily side, aligns with suburban growth. Depends how you would develop a parcel under R-8M. It could fall within the prescribed densities of suburban growth, or it could fall within the range of urban growth. It's one of those zoning districts that's right on the line. It could go either way. Here you can see the parcel designated in the orange color as suburban growth. You see it's right on the line of the rural residential designation. With a comprehensive plan, our goal is to transition growth outward from our core services. Richlands, you can see there in the municipality color in the dark gray, is in the southeast. And that is where we have a lot of services. There's a lot of infrastructure there. And so as we go out from that jurisdiction, we want to decrease in density. And that's where you see the suburban growth there following along Kinston Highway. We kind of get to the interchange and we pivot to rural residential and then to agriculture forestry. So we want to have this transition of density into the country. So it's that, again, keeping the highest density closest to jurisdictions where there's services and resources, and we can proactively manage our growth. Look at the environmental conditions serving the property. There are no regulated flood zones, and there is a stream there at the edge corner. It's an unnamed balloon line stream. So it's not been studied enough to be given a name. No wetlands were submitted initially with the proposal, but the applicant has done some wetland work that was submitted in an applicant statement to the board. However, that has not gone through the development review process. Look at some of the nearby area. Within half a mile of the property is a farm that is designated within the voluntary agriculture district. This is an elective program with the county where you can elect to put your farm in the VAD for short. And our ordinance requires that we notify any property that's being subdivided within a half mile. And the goal of this is to protect farms. So we're just simply disclosing that this property's rezoning is within half a mile of a VAD property. When we look at reasonableness in the public interest, could be considered reasonable because there is a path for a property being developed that would align with the future land use map. As I said previously, R-8M could align with suburban growth or urban. All depends on how they would propose to develop it. We look at objective 1.2, we want to proactively manage growth. This property does have several aspects of infrastructure that could support development at a suburban scale. Objective 6.1, Onslow County wants to promote a broad range of housing. This property could provide for additional housing. We do have a housing shortage, and this could promote a broader range of housing options. We look at non-supporting. Objective 1.3 would encourage us to preserve the rural landscape. This is 117 acres of forested land, so it is part of our rural landscape. Objective 2.4, coordinating with Onslow County Schools, is not just appropriating them funding or facilitating the construction of new schools, but also in rezoning decisions such as before the board. The high school is over capacity and would be projected to be northward of 200 homes over capacity. 200 students over capacity. Look at Planning Board's recommendation. They held their public meeting on September 4th. The Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend denial of the request. There were 6 citizens who spoke that night, and they had a variety of concerns. Their concerns were on wetlands on the property and potentially being impacted, environmental preservation of that property, specifically around runoff, and they were concerned about stormwater runoff affecting some of the adjacent homes. They spoke to, there are some low-lying areas there on the properties. Infrastructure capacities, they had concerns about the water system being able to support it, the roads being able to support it. And again, as I said, drainage impacts, already spoke about. School capacity, they were a lot of concerns with the high school being over capacity, and as well also traffic. One citizen did speak in favor of the request, as well as did the applicant. There were no military impacts, though, that were presented during the Planning Board meeting. The remarks of the chairman of Planning Board are as follows. There's a total of 117.19 acres between US Highway 258 and Richlands Loop Road. It's currently zoned RA and R-8M and proposed to be rezoned R-8M. There are 5 members of the public spoke at the meeting. The comments, much of the property is wetlands. Where will the water go when all the homes are built? There's too much traffic already going into Richlands past Walmart, and there are accidents almost weekly by the school. High school will be more than 200 students over capacity, not including all the students from several other new subdivisions which are already being built. Zoning would permit multifamily, 10 units per acre. And so the board found the rezoning is not in the public interest and is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The owner can develop and build with the current zoning and not increase the density more than the area can handle. Again, those were the remarks from the chairman of Planning Board. Here you can see an overview of the property. You can see again, currently forested, see where the property is connected to Richlands Loop Road as well as Kinston Highway. A little bit of a tighter look there. And again, property's already forested, but there are some adjacent homes, whether built on individual lots or adjacent little subdivision. Here's where we posted for tonight's meeting. This was the sign on Kinston Highway. But we also noticed on the Richlands Loop Road to make sure that both sides of the property were noticed. It's respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of Period Z 2025, number 19. Adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment regarding the comprehensive plan's consistency and whether or not it's in the public interest. And authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. As I've already mentioned, included was also a statement from the applicant as well as the staff report and the Planning Board minutes. Concludes the presentation from staff chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. At this time, we will open the public hearing. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, we do, sir. We have several speakers, beginning with Ricky Ward.
I'm actually going to let Kyle Fountain speak for me, if that's okay. I just put my name in case you've got any questions for me.
I think Mr. Fountain would be his attorney. I think that'd be appropriate. Okay. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Mr. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, Commissioners, appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of the applicant. As Mr. Metcalf stated, my name is Kyle Fountain. I'm with the law firm of Lanier Fountain and Ceruzzi, located at 114 Old Bridge Street, Jacksonville, North Carolina. The applicant has asked me to speak to you today about the proposal before the board. As Mr. Metcalf noted, the proposal is to combine what is currently a dual zone property into a single unified zoning designation, specifically the R8. The key difference here being the size of the lots that will be able to be used for the building and development of this property. That at present, the plan for this property is for a set of single-family residential stick-built homes. At present, there is not any intention to provide for any multifamily, and as Mr. Metcalf indicated, a multifamily usage would require coming back for a special use permit. That instead, this is intended to be fully detached single-family residences. The development will be including a community pool as well as a clubhouse. I do have available, I'm not sure these have been shared previously, but copies of the conceptual plan, as well as a letter from Northwest Onslow Water Association indicating that water will be served through Northwest, and a wetlands delineation map that has been provided and approved through the Army Corps of Engineers. If those have not been provided, I can submit those forward. At present, the idea is that we have a dual zone property. We understand that the county generally disfavors dual zoning, and we are trying to get it united so that everything is under a single zoning district. The difference between the R8 and the RA is going to be how many lots can be built on this property. We are going through the rest of the processes to try to get this project underway. There is currently negotiations ongoing with Onwassa to provide sewer service for these properties. We are discussing possible upgrades that would allow for the capacity that is needed for this property. In addition, the current plan is to provide for entrance and exit through Kinston Highway and an additional roadway through to Richlands Loop Road. At present, the question that was raised about the school and the capacity, this is going to take a number of years to fully build up. At present, we anticipate it will take 3 to 5 years to fully build out this development, allowing for time for the schools to be able to provide some additional capacity to try to meet the needs for the Richlands High School. In total, we are of the mind that this subdivision aligns with the surrounding area's character and complies with the current Unified Development Ordinance. Furthermore, we'll note that there was a property located across the street which had a similar situation that had a similar request to this board, and we are asking for the same consideration, namely for this to be rezoned to an R8 Unified Zoning District. Mr. Ward is available if there are any further questions regarding the actual plans or designs, as well as Mr. Williams available for the questions about the design of the survey plan. With that, if there's no other questions for the applicant, I appreciate the board's opportunity to allow us to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fountain. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Janice Pointer.
Good evening. My name is Janice Pointer. I'm from Durham, North Carolina, but I lived in Richlands, North Carolina. and I was a cheerleader for Richlands from Trexler all the way up to graduating. And I feel the same way I felt in September to deny this rezoning request. Request no change to the tax map number 30-108 to rezoning 117.19 acres for suburban growth. As I said earlier, my mom and my dad worked very hard for us to have this land and not for us to give it away or for it to be used for any other way. We have elder people that live on that way and on that road. And no one has talked about crime. No one's talked about the safety of the people once they build this place. And I feel that we have experienced it with not even having that development built, but just from Walmart being built from our area. We've had people to be stopped by the police walking back home saying they were suspects of a robbery, which had no evidence. They were handcuffed, placed in the car, and then they was said, Walmart had just sent them a release saying that they were notified. The person was black, male. That's the only description they had. The things that were stolen was not on the person. So I'm talking about the crime that would be more evident in that area than just building houses for single people and possibility mobile homes complex. Like I said earlier, my mom and my dad worked very hard to leave us a legacy and leave us something in their name. And I ask that you deny this request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is David Williams.
Thank y'all for letting me speak. My name's David Williams. I live at 848 Kinston Highway. My property joins this property. My grandfather bought his property right there 90 years ago. My father was raised there. I was raised there. My whole family. We all still live there. No more than, a year ago, they built the houses across the road. And now every time you look up, there's people walking through your yard, walking up and down the road, all hours of the night. We've already had one get run over right in our driveway, riding a bicycle. I don't want all that. I don't want all the foot traffic. We've never had an issue in our area, never. Everybody knows everybody gets along great. My doors have never been locked. They are now, but they were never locked before. This land they're talking about building on joins mine. I don't know about the far side of it, but I do know where it joins mine, it's wet before it rains. As I said before, at the last meeting we were at, I can't even build a doghouse on the back part of mine because it's wetland, is what the county told me. And I know I'm hearing right here that there's no wetland in there. When the people were bush hogging it, mowing it, about 6-8 months ago, they had a track machine that the water before it rained was already 8 inches up on the tracks. Where's all that water gonna go? If they build that up, it's gonna have to come over on me. And I was told that if I didn't want to live near the city, I shouldn't have bought near Walmart. What I wanted to tell him at the last meeting, I cropped tobacco where Walmart's sitting. I didn't just move here. I've been here all my life, 58 years. I don't think it should be there. Richlands High School cannot handle it. I don't care what they say. They say, oh, we build it now, and they got 4 or 5 years to build a high school. Who's gonna pay for that? I went to Richlands High School. I don't see it much bigger than what it was when I went. Yeah, they may build a high school somewhere here around Jacksonville to send the kids from Richlands to. Why? Build the school then build your houses. But don't build it in the wetlands. And I don't care what they tell y'all, Army Corps engineer or whoever, I've lived there all my life. It's wet before it rains. Part of it may not be. If it's not, fine, build on that. But not on top of me where it is wet. I bought a farm in the woods. I didn't buy a farm at Walmart. Thank y'all. Sorry I look like this. I didn't tuck my shirt in, but I just got off work.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker, and I can't read it very well, but it might be Chad Williams. Whaley? Chad Whaley.
Hi, I'm Chad Whaley. Thanks for letting me talk. I live out on the other side of David, and I've got the same problems that he's got. My property's wet when it hadn't rained for weeks. And I can't see where all this water that's gonna come off of his stuff is planning on going, or where he plans on routing it or whatever. It's like David said, I don't feel like the schools can Onslow County schools can handle it right now, or Richland schools can handle it right now. The road is horrible out there where we live at already, maintenance-wise and traffic-wise. I just don't, like I said, I don't see how, I'm not looking forward to anything that these houses are planning on bringing for the community at all. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is John Gosnell.
Good evening. John Gosnell, 114 Fairfield Drive. In Richlands, I really don't have anything to add. All the concerns are very clearly laid out in the presentation and by the other speakers. Same thing, I very carefully selected a place in Richlands that fit the small community that I was looking for, and feel like tearing out wooded lands and destroying those resources is a little premature, and the schools and all that, everything, the roads, nothing is really designed to handle that. And I echo another comment that I too was told if I wanted that small town feel that I should move out in the middle of nowhere because developers are going to develop small towns. So that just shows kind of the heart behind the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is it Johnny Williams?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and other commissioners. My name is Johnny Williams. I'm a land surveyor from Blvd, North Carolina, and I do the survey for Mr. Ricky Wood on this project. Just wanted to start by saying I appreciate all the comments we've heard, and I completely understand the other side of it. I'm a Duplin County farm boy myself, and I like the country. But just to go back and read a couple things that Mr. Metcalf said in his presentation, I think it's important to remember, is on the land use plan, you know, we had the suburban growth area, and of course there was a fine line there that Mr. Metcalf described on where you push out and push in. This, I think Mr. Metcalf said, it's a fine line that can kind of go either way. I think when you look at that overall map and you see all this residential agriculture zone, you'll see it kind of caves into the R8 stuff and everything, and it just looks like it's going to make a finer line in that suburban growth area to kind of push it out. Now, as far as the school growth goes and everything, I can't speak to that. I know that's an issue, but the dual zoning is one thing that you probably do not like to have. Most counties don't like dual zoning, and the other thing is just keep in mind that the growth moving outwards does somewhat comply with the land use plan. Just as much, I know there's reasons for and against that. And I guess the last thing is, I've heard a lot of comments about the water and the things like that. Just all these subdivisions that are done now, they'll be engineered, they'll be approved by the state of North Carolina. They've got erosion control plans, they've got stormwater runoff plans. I know it's wet. When this place is built out, it won't be as wet. So it's just, that's going to be a requirement from the state of North Carolina. So I just wanted to point those things out. And then I've been surveying for Mr. Ricky a long time. He does quality housing, all single family stuff. I just think it'll be a nice development once he's done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. The next speaker is Cody Kubanak.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cody Kubanak. I am here representing a group of people that are in favor of the rezoning. If everyone that's being represented by me could just raise your hand real quick. We're in favor of the rezoning. After seeing the maps and Mr. Williams speak, it's already R8. A portion of it is RA. It makes sense to make it all RA, or R8, sorry. It's just a logical thing to do. As far as the schools go, it is probably a need to address the schools. It is in most places in the country. There is a housing shortage in the country. A lot of people my age and younger have a hard time getting housing because there's less houses for sale, which in turn drives the cost of the houses up. Onslow County is growing with the Marine Corps base, with MARSOC moving here full time. That brings a bunch of people, as well as neighboring counties. Carteret County, for example, most normal people are getting priced out of that county, and they're moving to Onslow or Craven. And it would be in Onslow County's best interest to rezone it, to get houses built and provide a way for people my age and younger to be able to purchase a house. It's a very difficult task in this day and age. That's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smithman?
Mr. Chairman, that's the last speaker we have signed up for this hearing.
Okay. Make a last call to anyone. So we. Okay.
I won't take long enough for everything to be done. My name is Ricky Ward. I'm the developer right here from Richlands, North Carolina. I grew up here like most of the folks here, and I appreciate all the comments that's been stated tonight. I think one thing that wasn't said, that the subdivision right now is dual zone, but I could build on it like it is. But I want something that's kind of got uniformity. I don't like going into subdivision where you have one lot that's an acre, one lot's a half acre. It doesn't look good. And since I'm from Richlands, North Carolina, I'm trying to do something nice for the city I grew up in. Adams Homes is a good friend of mine. His name is Brian Adams. He'll be building some of the houses in that subdivision. These are the guys that built Waverly Place right across the street. They built a great product. And like this guy just said, Mr. Cody, they offer a great incentive program for first-time buyers. And I almost think it's $20,000 per home to give folks trying to find a home. That is imperative right now in the market that we're in. So I'm glad to be partnering with them on this project. And I look forward to doing it. And again, to me, the planning department says they don't like dual zoning situations, and as a developer, neither do I. And it just, to me, is the right thing to do. But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. With no other speakers, we'll close the public hearing and bring this to the commissioners. So we need a motion to either deny or approve.
Motion to approve. Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second it.
And a second. Well, now, any conversation, questions,
Yes, please.
discussion?
Mr. Metcalf, are you still? Yeah, there you are.
Yes, sir.
Could you give us some more clarity between RA and R8 and what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and how going one direction or the other would affect the number of homes or affect this development?
Absolutely. So RA is a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet, while R-8M has a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet. So an acre is 43,560 square feet. So essentially, it's a little under an acre as the requirement from rural agriculture, and then you have that 8,000 is the R-8M. R-8M would allow for stick-built or manufactured homes. Multifamily or a manufactured home park would be by special use permit. Those go before our Board of Adjustment. If either one of those were submitted, that would again follow a separate hearing process on that specific item. But the uses in R-8M are limited around residential and strictly residential. Rural agriculture allows for residential uses and non-residential uses. So it will allow for a contractor's office, obviously farming. And again, there's a lot of uses in the table of permitted uses, and R-8M spans across them. So it does limit retail establishments or restaurants. So not some of your heavier commercial things, but some smaller enterprises. It would allow for those because, again, rural agriculture is a lot of the county, and it's designed to support those rural communities. So we allow for some non-residential uses. But also to say, could a subdivision be submitted to us today? And if it met that 20,000 square foot lot size, yes, that would be eligible for approval, and we would have to review it. So wanted to clear up that point.
Thank you.
I got a couple of questions. I got a couple of questions. I listen to both sides. Obviously, I always listen to these rezoning and try to figure out what's best. If it's going to, you said R8, rural agricultural, what?
So RA is the current zoning, and it's also partially residential 8 manufactured. And so the proposal is to go to totally residential 8 manufactured.
So these are wetlands. Am I correct?
A portion of the property does contain wetlands based off of what the map the applicant submitted. We would want to see a concurrence by the Army Corps of Engineers of their wetlands delineation. That is something we do through the development review process, but the applicant did submit that map, I believe, to the board.
When you guys were talking, it was kind of funny. I was chuckling to myself because I wrote something that I caught, and then you just came up and re-emphasized what I wrote. And what I wrote down, I wrote 3 to 5 years for schools to catch up, ? And I just wrote that the first thing on top of my head because, we as commissioners make decisions about the school. That's a tough decision. We can't predict. I know there's a lot of people coming in here. I've been associated with the base since 1990, so I get it. But it's funny that I wrote that down and then you came up and said that. That was one of the first thoughts in my mind as a commissioner. I have to sit here and make decisions about schools, school funding, when do we increase schools, et cetera. And that's one of the things that was presented on the other side that I didn't really like because that was a kind of a presumptuous statement. If we're going to wait 3 to 5 years for the schools to catch up. Well, nobody can make that statement. Nobody can predict that. And we can't even anticipate that because it depends on where you move into the county. It could be a different school, a different location that pops up that needs a particular school. We get people that come into Richlands, but we may have a greater need in Southwest that needs a different school, a bigger school. So that particular comment, I did not like. And I don't like the fact that, I understand that there's not much of a difference, but there is. You can put a lot of housing there. I mean, I wouldn't want my daughter and son to buy a house on wetlands, for their first investment. That's just me. Go find someplace else that's, to me, a little more secure. And that area is a rural area. So I just point those things out, and I appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate your honesty here. And the people that came up in the assessment, I do respect that, and I'm not inclined to back this motion. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I'm impressed by your plan. I don't think there's a lot in Onslow County that doesn't have any wetlands on it. It seems like your amenities that you have planned for the subdivision will be nice for the community. I appreciate the concerns of all the people who have lived out there forever. We do plan for schools in the future. And just about everybody that develops anything has to delineate for the wetlands around here. Yeah, and I hate to, I really hate to go against the planning board, but in this case, I appreciate the comments about affordability of housing. We certainly need the housing in Onslow County, and we need affordable housing, and it seems that what you're building will be about as close to affordable housing as you can get in a subdivision, so I'll be inclined to approve. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Sure. Mr. Ward, can I ask you a question, please? If you could. So I'm just curious, what type of homes are these going to be?
It's the same builder that's building right across the street, Waverly Place. It's like 14 to 1,800 square feet homes. Single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath type deal. They built a really nice product, granite countertops. They do all the bells and whistles. And like I said, they do offer a huge amount of cost to the first-time buyers.
Okay, thank you.
Tim, I just can't go against the planning board. I'm not going to vote for this.
Okay. Mr. Metcalf. Oh, there you are. What's the Waverly Place? Is that RA, R8, or what is that one over there? I hate to ask, I mean, 'cause that's off the top of your head.
You're fine. We actually have a little bit of it here in the zoning map. You can see Greenwich Place as one of the subdivision names. They all have New York names, but it is R10 zoning. So residential 10,000 square foot lots, has many of the same restrictions, but does not allow for manufactured housing. It's stick-built only.
And one more question for you. RA, the minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet. Now,
yes, sir.
And that is the average development within that. So if someone wanted to build a home on 12,000 square feet and then build one on 8,000 square feet, is that permissible within that?
So they, under the residential zoning, if they had R-8M, we would allow for what's called a planned residential development, which means across the average of all lots, it must be 8,000 square feet. So for every 1 square foot, you have a lot that is smaller. Another lot would need to be 1 square foot bigger. So that way, the law of averages, if you just be able to work out. So yes, sir, similarly, if they had a 12,000 square foot lot, that would allow for some that would be smaller than 8,000, yes, sir.
Okay, so the opportunity there is actually conducive to go additionals. How many homes, I hate to ask Mr. Ward, but we've got the diagram here. How many homes? 300? Okay. All of them on 8,000 square feet? Okay. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts or comments?
I just want to make one last comment. Again, I appreciate everybody coming with your viewpoints. I really do. But it's funny. Maybe I'm old school, but a lot of people live in this area in Onslow County. Like I said, I've been over here for 30 plus years. I mean, this is my home. And people move out to the country for a reason or have property in the country for a reason because they moved out of the city. They don't want the city moving to them. And I've said that over and over again, especially the people in Rock Creek. Every time there's a development in Rock Creek or pushing highway business, I'm gonna go against it. Because there's no reason why these people that own land or have a house out in the country where they want to be left alone, and it's already marked for that, why not leave them alone? Because you bring in 300 homes and you're gonna have an influx of traffic. I happen to agree with what you were talking about, the traffic. If I had my way to do it over again, I'd probably move out in the country. Just have my solitude, my peace of mind. But that's where I'm coming from, and I just want people to understand why I voiced that. And again, the one thing that really bothered me was a comment about the schools will catch up. That's just a very presumptuous quote, and I didn't appreciate that. So, but anyway, I'm voting against it.
Okay. I think that's everyone there. And one last thing I'll say is that if we approve this, then every lot's going to be equal, 8,000 square feet. If we disapprove or deny this, then we can still have construction in there, maybe not 300 homes, but with the law averages, we cut it to 200. And it sounds like they're building it to where they're actually going to have a lot of stuff, amenities in there. Maybe is what I'm hearing. So that's enough for me speaking. So all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No. You gotta raise our hand.
Yeah, okay, for the nays, how many nays were there? Okay, so, all right, the motion is,
Well, we do need a motion to deny.
yeah, okay, so now we have to have a motion to deny.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'll add to this then, and I understand and respect what the commissioners are saying. I really appreciate the young man, Cody, and what he was saying about affordability and homes and being able to do this. But I think this comes back to what the discussion that we need to be having at a higher level for our county. so that when we get to these places like this, we're not frustrating the developer, we're not frustrating our citizens on either side, because there's valid points on either side, but we don't, in my opinion, don't have a complete overall overarching plan working with all of the different utilities and major players from traffic to schools, because there is a school plan, but that's one, and no offense, Mr. Metcalf, but we don't have the school plan in front of us to say where the school's planning on building. Now, somebody may remember off the top of their head, I don't. So all of these pieces need to be in a fashion that folks can look at them and say, there is a plan or there isn't. And I feel like sometimes we're making decisions, or let me say John Davis, I don't want to call any commissioners out, get myself in trouble. I feel like sometimes I'm making a decision and I really don't have all the facts to make the final decision. So that's, I just want to put that in there. We need an overarching plan. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment real quick before we go to vote, and I'm sorry to keep you on this thing, because some of these rezoning issues are important, and it goes to emphasize my point that commissioners, at least this commissioner here, I know it's up on the others, we listen to everything that's going on. One of the things we did, we got elected as commissioners, is to listen to the voice of the people. And so I just want to say that, you know, we may not have, we're never going to have all the facts. I can't tell you the formula for this or the formula for that, but the bottom line is that, you know, I appreciate everybody, even the ones that supported it. I appreciate you coming out here. You took the time and the effort because it meant something to you. But once again, I just can't support it.
No, sir. I'm sorry. With that being said, I think I know where I was going. I think we get a motion in a second on there. We've had our discussion. And I think the law's changed, that they can come back and resubmit to the board as soon as they want to. So if they make changes, then that opportunity is there as well. So with that being said, all in favor of the motion to deny, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yay.
All right, motion to deny carries. I think you're finished for the night, Mr. Metcalf. I'll give everyone a chance to go out. All right, so we'll continue and we'll move to our general items. Airport Runway Extension Program Amended Project Ordinance, and Mr. Mitch Sprunger, our airport director, who was already making his way up, will present for us. And he'll stay here, I think, for a couple of more. So, Mr.
Yeah, a couple items. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, good evening. Excited to bring you the following items for your consideration, which I believe are going to be instrumental for the development and growth of OAJ. So the first item for your consideration is an amended project ordinance for our runway extension program. This ordinance was originally adopted in June of 23, kicking off the prerequisite design work for our runway extension program. Now that this work has been completed, we're looking to amend the ordinance to incorporate some new elements to the program. The first is for the guaranteed maximum price project amendment with Blvd for the construction of the runway extension and the relocation of NC 111, which we'll be voting on here shortly. But in addition to the construction of the highway and runway, there are other costs that need to be taken into consideration. The next is for utility relocations. We're working with Duke Energy and Jones Onslow to remove existing power poles that are located inside a designated runway protection zone to move those underground. Also, due to the size and complexity of this project, you need environmental approval through the Army Corps of Engineers, NCDEQ, and you have to pay remediation fees. This amendment also includes provisions for professional services, for construction administration, and project inspections to keep the project safe on schedule and ensure that the highway is meeting NCDOT specs and the runway is being constructed and operated in compliance with FAA standards. So with that, it is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the amended project ordinance, and if approved, authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So we will continue with more of our airport runway extension. Mr. Sprunger?
So the next item for consideration is the guaranteed maximum price amendment for the construction of the runway highway project. This amendment is through our construction manager contract with Blvd. That contract was approved by the BOC in June of '24. As the construction manager, Blvd worked collaboratively with our engineering consultant, RSNH, to develop construction and phasing plans. Balfour was also tasked with bidding out the work, selecting subcontractors, and will be actively involved with overseeing construction activities. This past month, Balfour publicly opened bids for 3 separate projects, one for the highway, one for the runway, and then a combination package for both. We were fortunate to have competitive bid prices for the combination package, which allowed us to move forward with presenting this item to you today. Based on the bids, Blvd was able to put together a project cost of roughly $30.9 million. So with that, it is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners accept the guaranteed maximum price offered by Blvd Construction in the amount of $30,919,412. And if approved, authorize the chairman to sign the document on behalf of the county.
Motion approved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, please. So, Mr. Mitch, could you give us some detail of where these funds are coming from? So I think it'd be good for the general public to know.
Sure. So it is state grant funding. So the primary funding source is it's called SCIF funds, State Capital Infrastructure Funds. The airport received those in 2022 from the state legislature. It's $29 million. And since then, we've been earning interest on that money, which is helping fund this. And then in addition to that, we have some states, they're called Airport Improvement Program dollars that we can utilize. And then we also have what are called passenger facility charges that we can utilize as well if needed on this project.
So, and I just ask you that so that the citizens know that this is not coming out of their property taxes. I think that's really important, and that the work that you do in order to get money for the airport, and I do want to compliment you and your team and the experiences I have when I go through the airport. Y'all just do a fantastic job, and very thankful for what you do, Mitch.
Greatly appreciate the kind words, and yeah, we have a great team out there.
Any further comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, sir. So we'll move to C, the Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development Funding Agreement, and our Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Kevin Patterson, will present this one.
Good evening. This is a follow-up in the October 20th, the work session. The board from JOED came and made a presentation about a funding agreement, a multiple-year funding agreement with to finance the partnership in between the county, JOED, as well as other municipal partners. At that point in time, the board was interested in a 4-year funding agreement of $400,000 annually. This is a modification of the current grant contract that we have for funding. It does do for $400,000 for the current year, which is already budgeted amount, and plus it would be renewable for the next 3 years as well for the 4-year cycle. It does allow for the board to make further modifications as necessary or a change in the funding structure as needed.
Approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So now we'll ask Mr. Jamie Harrell, our Solid Waste Director, to come up for the Solid Waste Landfill Phase 2 partial closure. Mr. Harrell?
Good evening, Commissioners. In April of 2024, the Board of Commissioners approved the NC Appropriations Act grant for solid waste in the amount of $20 million. This grant was meant to use to support projects associated with future Subtitle D landfill expansions. In August of 2025, we went out for bid on a landfill closure project of almost 17 acres of landfill Subtitle D area to close a portion of the north and west side of our landfill. The contractor, the lowest bid was Lawing and Sons at $10,591,373.07 to be covered by grant funds. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the Phase 2 partial closure contract with Lawing and Sons Site Contractor LLC in the amount of $10,591,373.07 and authorize the chairman to sign any necessary documents on behalf of the county.
So moved.
So moved.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
We're really eager.
Motion and a second. He'll be happy to answer any questions. Any questions? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So let's go ahead and call up Kevin Turner, our tax administrator. I didn't want to say tax collector. Mr. Turner is our tax administrator. He'll be speaking to us on the schedule of values adoption.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. The item I bring before you today is the adoption of the schedule of values for the 2026 revaluation. In accordance with the North Carolina general statutes that govern the countywide revaluation process, the schedules were made available to the Board of Commissioners and for public inspection on October 20th, 2025. And also during the November 3rd, 2025 Board of Commissioners regular meeting, a public hearing was held regarding the schedule of values for the revaluation. This met the statutory requirement for conducting a public hearing at least 7 days before adopting the schedules. North Carolina General Statute 105-317C3 allows the board to approve the schedules at this time. The order can be found on page 2 of the schedules. It's respectfully requested that in accordance with General Statute 105-317C3 and 105-277-6B, the Board of Commissioners issue an order adopting the 2026 Onslow County Revaluation Schedule of Values and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
I just wanted to say something. This is my, second revaluation though. And I always learn something new with everything that we do. But I wanted to, for people out there that don't understand it as much, and I am still learning, I just wanted to say that by definition, what exactly the schedule of values is, and I read this and tell me if I'm correct, but it's used twofold to help you and your staff appraise the real property. And the thing that I love is it's also enabling the taxpayers to determine and understand the methods, rules, and standards by which their property is appraised. Would you say that that's like a Reader's Digest version kind of what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Turner. All right, let's go to the Animal Services Advisory Committee appointments and our county attorney, Mr. Brett DeSalms.
Yes, sir. You have 2 open seats on your Animal Services Advisory Committee. It's a 7-member board that's appointed by the Board of Commissioners. At this time, seats 4 and 5 are open, and a ballot has been given to you, and the 2 highest vote getters will get a seat on that board. All right, Mr. Chairman, the ballot sheet said that seat 4 would go to the highest vote getter and seat 5 would go to the second highest vote getter. Well, both Dr. Nicole Brinson and Amy Sullivan both have the same amount of votes, and they're the highest. So what I would just ask for is if you want Dr. Nicole Brinson to be in seat 4 and Amy Sullivan in seat 5, just make a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
The next item we have, Mr. Chairman, is for the Museum Advisory Board. There are 2 applicants for the 1 seat that is vacant. It's an at-large category. There's Claire Jones and Denise D. Gartner have applied to be on that seat. Mr. Chairman, Claire Jones was selected by the board to fill that seat.
Thank you, Mr. DeSalms. We now are moving to the consent agenda items. And Mr. Turner, the tax office request to extend the annual tax listing period.
Good evening once again. The item I'm bringing to you now is the tax office request to extend the annual listing period. And for those who may not be aware, the listing period annually is from January 1st to January 31st every year. In December, we mail out listing notices to citizens, letting them know of their requirements to list their personal property. 2026 will be unique in that it's a revaluation year. So in addition to the listing notice, citizens will also receive a revaluation notice. And in order to prevent confusion on the citizens' part, we want to make sure they have ample time to review both documents and to also meet their listing requirements and not miss any deadlines. So what this would do is extend the listing period to March 16th to give them time to review both documents and to meet any deadlines. In North Carolina Statute 105-307B2 authorizes the Board of Commissioners by resolution to extend the annual listing period in years when the county has a revaluation. So the specific action requested it is that the board approve resolution 25-013 to extend the annual listing period until March 16th, 2026 for the 2026 tax year and authorize the chairman to sign the resolution on behalf of the county.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Turner, there is a penalty for failing to file on time?
That's correct. There is a 10% late listing penalty if you miss the deadline, which typically is January 31st. This would move that deadline to March 16th.
Right, so this will be much better for our citizens to have a couple more months to get filed before they get penalized.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
So my understanding is that there's no interest going to be accrued until after March? Is that what yours says, penalty?
This is a late listing penalty. It's not for paying property taxes. It's for listing personal property.
Thank you for presenting that. I just really felt it was important to have it on our record.
Of course.
Thanks.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Mr. Chair, if I'll just clarify one thing, because I just want to make sure the citizens that heard this, the late listing penalty has changed. The date to pay your property tax has not changed. Right. So and Commissioner Knapp, that when you asked that question, I could see how people may be confused on that. The date to pay the property tax remains the same.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. So we'll move to manager's comments. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. Very quickly, I'm happy to share that we've had well over 1,200 responses to our parks survey, which has closed. We also received many dozens more input through personal contacts at events and other places that we were soliciting comment. We will be celebrating milestone achievements and tenure of our staff this Friday with the Longevity Awards, and I look forward to celebrating our employees' milestone marks in their tenure here with the county. As Commissioner Davis said, the airport is a tremendous benefit for the citizens of Onslow County. Overwhelmingly, because we receive the benefit without having to put in the finances. It is very rare that we put in general fund tax money to airport operations. And it is a tremendous asset for our community. And I appreciate Mitch bringing us this transformational project to extend the runway, which ultimately one day will improve service and certainly improve safety on day one. I want to just speak a bit more briefly about the JOED, Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development funding resolution or contract that was passed. This board has committed to be a partner of the Economic Development Group for the next 3 years and is funding a significant portion of that organization's 3-year strategic plan through this nonprofit funding agreement. And then finally, I want to again express, I know on your behalf, but on the organization's behalf, our state delegation, particularly Senator Lazara, who made possible the $20 million grant that Mr. Harrell was speaking of this evening. What a tremendous assist has been provided to our citizens. That's $20 million of investment that we can make in the future of our landfill that will benefit our citizens and the rates we pay at the tipping scales for many years to come. So we're super happy that funding is being implemented. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Smitherman. I think last time I started with Commissioner Paget, so tonight we'll start with Commissioner Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think I remember that correctly.
I wanted to thank Mr. Elliott Jarman for your comments tonight. I truly believe that the large majority of citizens of Onslow County agree with what he says and with what we do here in our invocation and our national motto on the wall behind us. Unfortunately, the young lady who has an issue with that doesn't stay around long enough to hear any opposing views. It's a sad situation, and I feel for her. She needs help. I was recently reappointed by Insurance Commissioner Mike Causey to the North Carolina Insurance Underwriting Association Board of Directors, and I'll be leaving tomorrow to attend Board of Directors meetings for the rest of the week. Working as hard as I can to keep your wind and hail insurance as low as we possibly can. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Commissioner Buchanan?
Thank you. I appreciate everybody that's being here, and I know we make a lot of hard decisions sometimes, but one of the good things that's come out of the election that just happened, we had a lot of good things come out with Pete getting back in, and then we have a new gentleman that's going to be the mayor of North Topsail Beach. But we also have some new people in Swansboro, and that's going to be a great thing for us in Onslow County. It's Tim Vinoy, which you met Tim this evening, Wayne Herbert, and then Jeff Conway was an incumbent. But the one thing I want to talk about Tim and Wayne is we met with them on Friday, myself, Tim, and Robin Knapp, and we had a long discussion with the two of them. These two gentlemen, along with Jeff Conway, and them want to work very close with Onslow County. That's something we haven't seen in a long time. And their remarks, and I know Tim is going to share some stuff with you too, Tim Foster, but I'll leave him have that piece of it. But I'm looking for the working relationship with them, and I think it's going to be one outstanding relationship with Swansboro. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan. Commissioner Carpenter?
Oh, wow, okay, wasn't expecting that. I was very honored to attend both the United States Marine Corps birthday celebration and then the Marine Corps Ball, my first one ever. Since our last meeting. The ceremonies were phenomenal, and I think one of my favorite things was the history that they showed at the birthday celebration, the change of the uniform over time, over the last 250 years. It was really amazing. And so I don't duplicate everything. The only thing I do want to duplicate is thank you, Elliot Jarman, for your thoughts and comments tonight. They really were spot on, and I support them too.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so just speaking about the Marine Balls, I had the privilege of attending the Montford Point and getting to meet a Montford Point graduate, and that was Mr. Hoover, 103 years old, I believe, if that's accurate. And what an honor to meet somebody like that. So I really enjoyed the night, and thanks to the folks that put that on. It was very well done. The ceremonial part was just outstanding. Really moved, really a moving ceremony. Watching, we had a young man born in 2000 and something. I want to say 2001 or more. And so we had from a 19-year-old Marine receiving a piece of cake from a 103-year-old Marine. It was a tear-jerking moment, quite a privilege to watch. Mr. Elliott, I hate to keep repeating because we try not to do that, but very well said. Very well said, sir, so thank you. Mr. Vinoy, welcome to the ranks. You're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, but you'll do a great job. Thank you for all the support you've given me over the years. Always have enjoyed working with you, even from back when we had the governor at your house and the recovery that you made from there. So wish you the best in taking care of Swansboro. And if you need me, you know where I am. So wish you the best. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Commissioner Paget?
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you again. Very well said, needed to be said. Congratulations to all the winners. Rick's taking on a new role. Mr. Pete, glad you got back in there. And thank you everyone for the comments tonight. Jamie, I want to thank you for what you do for the landfill, and Mitch for the airport. Two things that we got to have in Onslow County to move forward. So thank you again, and thank you everybody for coming. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Paget. Vice Chairman?
Yeah, real quick, again, you saw tonight some of the processes and work with everything from the rezonings to the presentation proclamations to the tax office with information stuff. Again, my hat's off to David and his staff for always doing an outstanding job, even though I was a little late at the workshop. What I did see was outstanding, and I do appreciate the professionalism that every one of you all displays. I still think we had the top-notch county office, bar none, throughout North Carolina. So I'm very appreciative of what you do. Tim, it was good meeting you Friday, and it was good meeting Walter. It's like I've known both you guys for a long time. I guess maybe it's our commonality of serving on Lejeune for endless years. But it was good to talk to you. I think we think alike. We share some of the same ideas, same concepts, and it was a pleasure sitting down and talking business to get to know you. Thank you for wanting to come meet with us, and I think it's just it's a bright future, a bright road for the Swansboro Town of Commissioners and with the Board of Commissioners here in Onslow County, that we can work unified and share ideas without worrying about getting judged or getting mad at each other, even if we disagree. And I saw that at the lunch. I really enjoyed it. And I appreciate the message afterwards that you texted me. I really do appreciate that, and from Mr. Herbert. And thank you guys, and good luck with you in the future. I really look forward to working with you. And Pete and Rick, congratulations. You won both mayor. You're now a mayor, so we have to dress you differently and change the seating arrangement a little bit for you, Rick. But I appreciate both of you always being here at our commissioners meeting, and that typifies the inner workings with the other municipalities out here, especially your effort to come see us, to meet with us. You're always here, Rick, So are you, Pete, and we really do appreciate that. It just shows a unified Onslow County, and I really do appreciate that. That's a good feeling to know that we can talk to other municipalities with ease and get things done, get the same goals accomplished. So thank you very much. One last thing, don't forget the Christmas parade this Saturday. Christmas parade is going to be in Jacksonville. It's a great time. I think myself, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Buchanan, and Mr. Foster will be there for the Christmas parade. It's always a lot of fun, and I'm mandated to do so because my wife wants to decorate my truck, so I have to listen to her if I know what's good for me. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We always get a big crowd. We had a large crowd last year, and please come out and support Onslow County and Jacksonville during the Christmas parade on Saturday. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Just want to talk briefly about everyone speaking tonight, from those that spoke in the public comments. I too appreciate what you said, Mr. Elliott Jarman. And then the speakers on the rezoning, and those conversations is what brings me to the next part, is that is your voice in action. And that's what is so important to know, and how I'm going to turn this back to Veterans Day and the Marine Corps 250th birthday celebration. My wife and I, along with Commissioner Carper, able to attend that. General Rizzo and his team did an outstanding job of that ball and celebrating 250 years. And what is the significance of that? That is right here in Onslow County. The significance of the Marine Corps, and one that really always hits home to Onslow County is the Beirut Memorial that stands at Lejeune Memorial Gardens, the Montford Point Memorial that's at Lejeune Memorial Gardens, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, the Corpsman Memorial, and then we have the 9/11 Memorial, all over at Lejeune Memorial Gardens. Every one of those memorials is the reason that we get to sit up here and do what we do, and why you get to come up here and speak at that microphone, is the lives sacrificed. Those men and women, some gave some, and some gave all. And I think that is appropriate to acknowledge that on a night where we've had lots of public speaking, disagreements. But what makes this nation so dadgum good is that we can stand at the microphone and we can speak our conscience, give our say, and we don't have to worry about anybody knocking on our door or busting down our door, arresting us or taking us off and killing us. Just look at the history of Nazism, socialism, fascism. They all have one thing in common: millions dead that disagreed with them. So tonight is another great night of a celebration of 250 years of the Marine Corps, from a night in a tavern called Ton to the day on the 17th of November, 2025, we still enjoy the fruits of their labor and their patriotism and their lives given. With that being said, we will go into a closed session at this time
For personnel and
for
attorney.
personnel discussions. So
Motion moved. Do we make a motion?
So we have a motion to go in closed session. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We opposed? We're in closed session.